I once had a dream that I was a wizard. I sprung out of my wizard bed and my wizard feet pitter-pattered on my wizard floor, and I happily placed my wizard hat on my wizard head and seized my wizard staff to stroll out my wizard door. And when I arrived outside, I saw that the world was peaceful. But I got a bad feeling in my stomach and I realized that my dream was being deceitful. So, using my wizard cunning, I scanned the area and found that there was a creature skulking in the shadows. So I called out to him with my wizard voice, "You shall not pass!" And as this monster oozed from the shadows of which it once lurked, I cast my wizard spell and I hoped that it worked, and what was once a giant oozing evil beast was shrunk to the size of a quiet, puny, feeble flea. And I smushed that flea with my wizard shoe, and I wiped it off on my wizard mat that said welcome, and I went inside for a little wizard smoke, and I wished that I could stay in this dream until hell comes. But then I woke, and I concluded that all was back to normal. So I rolled over and heaved my normal body from my normal bed. I dragged each normal foot across my normal floor. I combed my normal fingers through the normal hair on my head and lugged my normal backpack as I lumbered through my normal door. And when I arrived outside, I saw that the world was boring. At which point, I crawled into my regular car and drove down the regular street. I made it to the regular school with all the regular people that I regularly see, and I went to my same old classes that ended at the same old time. And when school was over, I took that same old drive where I talked to myself with that same old mouth with its same old tooth. And I got back to that same old house with its same old fire. At which point I concluded that my situation was hopeless. So I cried out with my hopeless voice, "Can anyone save my hopeless home?" But there was no one around in this hopeless land, and so did crumble that hopeless stone. And I saw that my whole life was ruined. I walked upon the ashes of my ruined residence. My ruined belongings crunched underneath my feet. I sorted through the ruined evidence when I found this tiny bean. And a tiny drop of tiny sweat dripped down my nose and onto the tiny bean, and it began to grow. It grew into a giant house that looked just like mine, and I opened that giant door and I felt like flying. So I flew into the giant fridge and drank a giant Coke, and I inhaled a giant breath, at which point I woke. And I plunged into my weird shoes and out of my weird bed and strutted across my weird floor and scratched my weird head and seized my weird bag and opened my weird door. And when I arrived outside, I saw that the world was perfect.